transform within. The power of self-confidence. You are here because you want to be transformed. The one transformation that you can take away is your self-confidence. And I'm here to help you reclaim your self-confidence. The world tells us, be brave, be bold, just believe in yourself. What if we've been lied to? What if you already have your inner self-confidence? Let me take you on a journey of my self-confidence transformation. Welcome to Uganda. This is my village. I grew up in northern Uganda in the 1980s. I know, I don't look that old. But this is a representation of my village. Where I grew up, there were wars, there were rebels. My village was burned down. So I don't have a picture of my childhood or my village, but I have my memory. And I have the stories that my grandma used to tell me. Every day we would wake up, do our chores, go to school, and then in the evening, just after 6 p.m. news, we'll sit down by the fire, no TV, there was no electricity. We sat by the fire, and my grandma would tell us stories. And each story had a moral. It had the meaning. And in each of these stories, there was a warrior. There was no Superman. There was no capes. There were warriors, and those warriors were the person in the story. So from the age of 3, 4, I was told, and the value of having self-belief was instilled in me, that I was already confident. I didn't need the world to tell me. I didn't need a poster to tell me that go and become confident. I was already confident. So because of that, my grandma gave me chores. She would send me on errands with my older cousins. And when I was about 7, 8, she started to teach me how to cook. Not sitting and watching me cook. She would just say, go and do this, go and do that. And it was her way of training me to be a good wife and a good mom one day. So today, when I cook for my husband, I don't use the fire because I'm in London. So I use the cooker, right? So I had to kind of change my way of cooking. But the confidence was already in me, so I don't need to go out. So for you today, what confidence do you have within you? Claim it. So, you might be saying, Faith, that's all very wonderful. In the workplace, we hear of stories, women held back in their careers because of a lack of self-confidence. I'm a coach. I go to companies, and I talk to these women. They have confidence. It's in there, but it's the environment. So underneath, you are like a rocket, but on the outside, you're just weak. You're looking for the world to tell you which way to go, but you already have it. So be that rocket. It's within you. And I'm here to say, transform. You have the power of self-confidence. Reclaim it. Sometimes life can change course, and sometimes we might lose our self-confidence. That's me. About 14 years ago. I know, I look the same. But I am that old. And that was me having the time of my life. I was working for a global company. I'd done my MBA, full of self-confidence. But at the same time, I was making babies. So I've got my 2 kids. And I was thinking, what do I do with myself? And that was the moment of my transformation. Because I stopped listening to the world. I stopped listening to the people saying women can have it all. And I thought, what do I want? And I had the confidence, the audacity to go to my boss to say, we need to have a meeting. And he said to me, are you having another baby? And I said, no, I'm not having another baby, but I am going to have a career break. That was 10 years ago. I'm not really on a break. I'm working as a public speaker, as you can see. So these are my 2 kids. and my husband is somewhere here. But these are the kids, and they have approved the use of these photos because they're teenagers. I have to ask permission. But transitioning from being a corporate worker to being a parent was difficult and challenging. And I was bombarded with advice. Do this, do that, read this. My mother used to say to me, so my mother is a single mom, a very quick backstory for her. A mother of 4 children, I'm the only girl, the eldest. And she's a nurse, she's a midwife, she's a radiographer, she's an expert on everything. So could you just imagine having a mom such as that when you're having a baby? In Africa, this is what we do. In here, we bathe the children, I think, once a week when they're born. In Africa, you bathe them twice a day. So can you imagine? My confidence was nowhere to be found, right? But I had to stop listening to people and start thinking, what do I want? What is the right thing? And I believe that's the same. You have that confidence, whether it's at work, in your community, even in your own house. You have a voice, use it. You have that inner voice, so use that. So I just wanted to say, sometimes you will have those challenges. Be prepared. We are living in challenging times. You're not going to find the confidence out there. It's already in you. So we all love superheroes. Representation matters. And choose who you want to have as your superhero. But who is your superhero? When you have those doubts, every single day we wake up. The stat says we speak to ourselves more than anyone, right? So think about that, right? The moment that you wake up in the morning, you start having a conversation with yourself. Nighttime, you have a conversation with yourself. And that's before you've gone onto social media, yeah? Or call down your teenager to come and eat food or something, right? Or do something. So imagine the amount of conversation that you're processing and the amount of data. And if all that is negative, self-doubts, what is that doing to your self-confidence? Right? You're literally robbing yourself if you think about it that way, right? There's somebody inside you just saying, you can't do it, you're going to fail, don't even try, don't start a business, just stay calm, just hide in your comfort zone. Play small. Don't go outside that comfort zone because it is challenging. But if you know that you have the confidence in you, then why not? That's why I'm saying reclaim your confidence today. So, I found some beautiful images. If I was to ask you today, are you scared of public speaking? Apparently a lot of you are. And apparently people would say, I'd rather die than be on that red dot where Faith is standing. Look at how brave she is, right? But I was that person, terrified of public speaking. And my fear of public speaking, it came about not because I was shy, no. Back in my village, I was Little Miss Popular. I was very talkative. That was actually one of the problems I had. I just talked a lot. But moving to the UK, new culture, very cold. People don't say hi to you and they think you're crazy. Going to school with maybe 5 black people out of 450. It was very easy to stand out. So the children thought it was interesting. My accent was interesting. So they made it their daily ritual to laugh or to repeat or to do things. And over time, my self-confidence just fell to the floor. And I convinced myself that if I don't speak, I'll be fine. If I don't, say anything that they might laugh at, I'll be fine. Despite going to university, getting a good job, my self-confidence was nowhere to be found when it came to public speaking. I could do everything else, but it was just this one thing. And it took somebody saying to me, Faith, you keep coming to these meetings. You don't say anything. What's going on? And I'm like, well, I'm waiting for my turn, or, I'm not sure. And it became a problem for me. So I thought to myself, I need to fix this problem. I had to get a mentor. I had to attend speaking clubs. Those one where you speak for 2 minutes and they just rip you into shreds. Really, it's more scary than standing here. But for me, it helped me to transform from somebody that had a fear of public speaking to someone that can stand here. Because for me, it's not about me, it's about the message. So when you're talking about public speaking, it's not about you. right? So whatever fear you have that is affecting your confidence, overcome it so that you can reclaim your self-confidence. But how do you do that? I have 3 recipes for you. They're almost like my grandmother's recipes, but it's about your mindset. There's a professor called Professor Carol Dweck, who is a professor at Stanford, or was at Stanford when she came up with this concept. And it's about inside our mind. We can choose, or we can be dependent on one or the other. And you know that, right? So when you read this, you think, okay, all the time am I in a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? And there's no right or wrong. But the key is, if you're sitting there doubting yourself and worried, maybe try the growth mindset approach. Try saying, okay, I'm not confident yet. Just put that word, yet, to everything that is worrying you or that's stopping you from taking the step forward. And then you will improve. So the growth mindset is about putting you in the center of your story. It's about putting you in control so that you can actually be the warrior in your own story. You can actually just move on instead of listening to all the noise that coming out at you. Yeah? So I've talked about the growth mindset. I also want to talk about your inner perception of yourself, right? And it's okay. Life, as I said, will knock you down. But that's why you have to transform. You have to be flexible. You have to be adaptable. And with transformation, just like a butterfly, you go through the different phases. But your confidence must never suffer. Because you keep reminding yourself, it's already within you. Yeah? So, what else can I tell you? The action that you have and your responsibility is to redefine what is confidence. Think about that. What is self-confidence? The word says it all. It's self. It's yours. You have the power. You have the choice. Reclaim your confidence. Make a list. As a coach, we're always giving you homework. The homework you have is do a list, do assessment. Which area of my life am I the best at? Right? Focus on that. Lean into that strength of yours. Let that be the voice that helps you to navigate the challenges and navigate the lives that you have. It's time to reclaim your self-confidence. Thank you.